IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate Edition has a couple of tool windows which are pretty helpful while running Spring Boot applications. Now we are going to explore the Run tool window and the Spring tool window. Both have multiple features. This different windows not only makes running or debugging the Spring Boot application easier, it also helps us to explore the entire application in a more systematic way. First, I'm going to run the application that I have here. I'm going to click on this particular run button like any other application. On the left hand side, if you see, this particular run window is activated. Now, if we run any core Java application, the run window is more or less same, but there is one additional tab over here. If you notice this actuator, and if I click this, by default, if you see, Spring Boot Actuator is not enabled. Add dependency to the Spring Boot starter actuator to enable it. As I have not added any actuator starter in the pom.xml, it is showing me this particular message. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the dependency in my pom.xml. Let me stop this application. Open the pom.xml. So this is the pom.xml. If I go to the dependencies section, here I have edit start. Typing actuator over here, check this, click OK. Now IntelliJ is going to resolve the dependencies as you can see at the bottom of the screen. Again, I'm going to run this application. It's showing me load map and changes. Let me do that as well. Done. Rerunning the application from here. The Spring Boot application is started now. Now if I go to this actuator, you can see on the left hand side, I have this application name under bins. There are three tabs: bins, health, and mappings. If I click on this, I have different bins shown over here. On the left hand side, if you focus, diagram mode, show library bins. If I click on this, I have the controller, which is project specific. If I click it again, apart from my own controller, which is shown as class over here, all the library related bins are shown. If I select my controller, I can get some documentation. Let me make this section a little bit bigger. So here it is showing this is my demo controller and it is actually using this customer repository and some high level documentation where it is and the full package name of the controller is shown. If I go to health, these are some auto configured health indicators like DB, disk space, ping, etc. If we expand them based on these indicators, whatever information they are fetching, we can see here. Under mappings, we have different REST endpoints and based on that, the methods are displayed. Now, by default, if you see, apart from the application endpoints like find, list, add, which I can recollect, other endpoints are also shown over here. If we notice this particular icon, it is showing the library mappings also. If I click this, only application related parts are shown. Let me click on this mapping. I get some options like running the request in a Scratch file or HTTP client and open in browser. Let me first run this in HTTP client. So this is my request. Let me run it. I'm getting the response, the 4 records that I have in the database right now. If I go back again, let me close this, click over here, open in browser. So I can view the output in the browser as well. These are pretty simple but pretty handy features which are available in the Ultimate Edition. If I go back here in console and somehow by mistake, if you close this, if it is gone, again you can go here, view, tool windows, and you can select this run, or there is a shortcut Alt 4. It is back again. Now after this run tool window, there is another very important window I want to show you. Go to view, tool windows, and open the Spring. Let me minimize this run window for the time being. Now here, if you see, by default, it is showing the application, the repository, the controller, everything. We can select the module over here. In case it is a multi-module application, right now I have a single module, so I don't need to select anything. And here we can mention the type also. If it is a bean, if it is a controller, if it is a repository. Now, when the application is big, then this filtering makes sense. Let me change it to all. And I can select this, right click and go to source if needed. And at the bottom, this is one important section actually. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Depending on the resource that I have selected, whether it is repository, controller, at the bottom, we have few tabs. First one is documentation. Documentation basically shows the location at this point of time, nothing more. Maybe in future there could be further improvements. Bean graph. This is a handy feature. In simple applications you won't understand, but in bigger applications, this is my controller where it is using what. I can easily understand this demo controller is using a repository over here. If I click on MVC, as it is a controller, that is why this MVC tab is appearing, and it has the methods, the REST endpoints actually, and it is showing me that. I have selected this. Now it is showing what is the associated method. If I select this one, I have the associated method. So this is a nice feature. When we are working on a specific small application, it is fine. But if there is a bigger application, good amount of code is there and you are exploring it, this provides you a very nice way to explore the application and understand the features of it. Going back to the different features over here, if I select this repository, you can see the MVC tab is gone. Bin graph is there. It is showing me how the dependencies are there, how it is related. And there is this particular tab, data, and the method that it has. Similarly, the method definition is shown. I can right click also and go to edit. It will take me to the source code actually. Here, if I minimize this little bit, I can see that it has gone to the source code. Now the application that I have is a very small dummy application. To show you the power of all these capabilities in a little bit better way, I'm going to open a bigger application, the Spring Pet Clinic application from IntelliJ itself. Before that, I want to close this application. I don't want to run it. I'm going back to run window again, stopping this. In browser, I have this link for this Spring Pet Clinic application. You can download the same project from github.com Spring Projects Spring Pet Clinic. Going to code, download zip. It's downloaded. Extracted. I'm going to rename this folder, removing this dash main from the end, and I'm going to place it in a particular directory, and then I'm going to open this project from IntelliJ IDEA. Cutting it, placing it over here. All done. Now from IntelliJ IDEA, I can go here, open, select this project, click OK. Now at the beginning, it is showing whether I want to use Gradle or Maven. I'm going to select Maven, clicking OK, opening a new window, maximizing this. This is going to take some while. It is going to resolve the dependencies and then perform the indexing. It's resolving the dependencies now, scanning the files to index. It seems we are ready. This is the README file. You can go through it. For the time being, I'm closing it. Now here, I'm just going to open the Spring Boot application class. I don't know anything about the application as of now, but I know this would be the application class. Yes, I have the annotation over here. Just running it from here. So doing the build, starting the application now. So it seems it has started the application. In the run window, similarly, we have this actuator tab. It is telling me failed to check the application ready state, JMX agent not loaded. Press refresh button to re-init ready state checking. This is the refresh button. Let me click this. This is the application. Now I have all the bins along with my application bin. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on this show library bins button so that my classes are shown. Further select this controller or class, and here it is showing the dependency. Some level of documentation is there. Let me make it a little bit bigger. So application level bins are shown. We can navigate through them. Now at this point of time, IntelliJ shows all these application classes just as class. It could be made more user friendly if the names were here instead of just this class. Anyways, the associated resource is shown here. If we select, we can see the diagram and some level of documentation, what is the package name, etc. If I right click on this, I can go to the source. So this is the beans tab. We already saw this. In health, we know whatever resource details we can get. Now in mapping, by default, all the endpoints are shown. If I click on this, then the application specific endpoints are shown. Here also same way, we can click on this and run the HTTP request, or we can open it in browser as well. Let me run this one. So it is giving me some records over here. I think around 5-6 record it has returned, or maybe more. Now I'm going to open the Spring tool window. View, tool window, Spring. Minimizing this one, this services, minimizing this one also, and making it a little bit bigger. Here, if you see, there are good number of resources, right? I can just select by repository. I have two main repositories, owner repository. I can select bean graph. If I make it a little bit bigger, we can see what are the relationship between them. If I go to data, I can see this available names. And in case we want to go to the source, we can navigate to that. Similarly for controller, if I go over here, this vet controller, if I select, bean graph, we can already see, understand what are the dependencies or interactions, and under MVC, we have all the mappings. From here also, we can click on edit and go to the source code if needed. So in this lesson, we have explored two tool windows. One is run and the Spring tool window. Both of them having good number of features which are pretty useful and makes the Spring development a lot easier.